Damn, Ingenious made the beat. Yo, welcome to another episode of the Coach Life Podcast Radio. I'm, of course, your host, the Prince of Positivity, Coach Steve. Joined with me today, got another special one. Got a chance to coach with this individual, got a chance to be coached by this individual. One of the most dynamic coaches I've got a chance to coach with, got a chance to get my tutelage from, gave me a huge leg up when I started coaching. Not gonna not gonna go into any more details because I'd be spending all day going through this man's resume and how famous and infamous he is inside of the St. Joseph high school locker room
Well,
and on the field. But without further ado, Coach Gil Hesslau, how are we doing, Coach?
doing real good, Steve. Nice to see you again.
Absolutely, Coach. Always a pleasure to have you. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining this pod again. Having the conversation with your brother, with Coach Bill, and now having you on. This is a dream come true.
A great way for Chargers to connect. School's gone, but not forgotten.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we will definitely touch on that because again, the school not being here anymore, we definitely have not lost that Charger pride.
No
100%.
doubt. No
Coach,
doubt.
before we jump into all of that, let's take it back. Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know much about your guys' upbringing. I learned a lot of that when I did my pod with Coach Bill. But how did you have the same upbringing, the same start? I guess you can say that Coach Bill had. Again, you being the
Well,
older brother, I'm pretty sure he followed a lot in your footsteps.
yeah. Well, I didn't see his podcast, so I'm kind of glad I didn't, because we'll
Good.
see a little different perspective here.
Right.
But let me be clear on this. I was always known as Coach Gil for a reason. All coaches were known by their last name. When I came to St. Joe's and Coach Bill, Bill and I were there at the same time. I said, "I'm Coach Gil. He's Coach Hesslau." Because if we were both Coach Hesslau, when Coach Hesslau got a report from a parent, I wanted to be sure that they knew it wasn't me.
Right.
That was Bill. That was Bill. But but anyway, that's where the distinction became. I was always Coach Gill, and he was always Coach Hesslau.
Absolutely.
But going back, I don't know how far Bill went back, but we both we were the two. Bill was the youngest in the family. I had five. We had five older sisters. I was a year older than Bill, and my dad always playing touch football with us out front, put the basketball out back, playing catch and running bases. All those little kid things out in the yard, and
Mhm.
yeah, touch football with our neighbor Pat Gannon. And what I recall, me and my back in my day at St. Eulalia, you had fifth and sixth grade, seventh and eighth grade teams. So I remember being in the fourth grade and going to watch my cheerleader, my sisters who were cheerleaders, cheerleading for St. Eulalia, and then seeing some older kids that I knew playing the game, and I was
Mhm.
like, I can do that. I can play that game. I remember playing one of my first tackle games without pads. We always played two hand touch. I was on
Mhm.
vacation. These are memories I had that said, "Hey, Gil, you're gonna play football." But I went to tackle a kid. His knee got me right in the nose. I got up, and that wasn't too bad. So then I went on to St. Eulalia, played fifth and sixth grade there, seventh and eighth grade. Had a lot of fun. Bill was on my team in fifth and sixth grade. Um, when I was in eighth grade, Bill was on the team with me in seventh grade. So a lot of fun there at St. Eulalia, and then my journey took me to St. Joe's.
When you were playing in more in Pop Warner, was there was there one particular side of the ball that you enjoyed more than the other?
Well, we played both ways. I remember the first year I played in fifth grade, I only played one side. And what I remember, I tell people, my jokingly say, in all my years of playing football from fifth grade all the way through high school, I played every position but offensive tackle and defensive tackle. So I said, you know what that tells you? I was an all-around athlete.
You know how to play the game. Coach know how to play the
I'm
game.
joking, but yeah, I started out playing center and linebacker. Those are my two positions. I was center and linebacker in sixth grade. Seventh grade, I was a 105-pound guard and a linebacker. And then in eighth grade, I played center again and linebacker. I wanted to play running back in eighth grade, but we already had our kids who were playing running back. So Gil was 00 as the center.
One thing I remember most in my time with you, when you talk about how skilled you were in multiple different positions, like I remember you coaching the running backs or the linebackers and still would be able to come over to the receivers and the DBs and give us little tidbits here and there, like, hey, watch your footing here. Hey, you're false stepping, right? Like you would always be able to drop those little tidbits on us.
You know what that came from, though, Steve? Not so much as being an athlete, but and going to clinics. I started. I fell in love with that part of football. Also, football was great because you'd coach through the fall. Um, then you had the pros and college season through February. Then once February came and the season ended, then your football clinic started.
Hmm.
So you're getting your feet of football still then and there. So that's where I guess I picked up some of that.
What do you feel like is one of your biggest influences in your early stages of your career? Was it coaches? Was it family? Was it a particular mentor?
As a young boy, I was just a kid playing sports. I don't.
Hmm.
The coaches encouraged me. Competition I enjoyed. I had a younger brother. Me and Bill were competing every day at home in some game or another.
Hmm.
So that was part of it. The one thing I look at, and I this I didn't dawn on until maybe about 15, 20 years ago. But my dad never really came to watch me play,
Hmm.
and you know what? Didn't matter. And he did that for a reason. He didn't want me playing for him,
Right.
and I never did. So like when I came home and told him about the game, it was no big deal. But I still enjoyed it, had fun, wanted to play, wanted to be the best. I was in a family of seven, five older sisters. I was the quiet one. I was quiet, shy Gil. Bill was always the bull of the woods, the next door neighbor called him. But when I played football, I was boisterous. I became a leader. I became a captain. I'll say I came out of a shell a little bit, but that's what football did for me. I still remember a lot of the coaches I had who were good influences. I figure all of them are good influence to a certain point. They all influence me somehow, and I view coaches as people who care.
Absolutely.
A majority of them are people who care, and if you care, you're going to make an influence on some young person's life.
I'll raise my hand and say that I was definitely one of those people for sure, coach. 100%. Was there what was the particular moment that you had where you were like, I want to coach? Like not just play the game, like I really want to start coaching too.
That's a good story because the first time I coached, like I'm sure Bill told you, he started right out of high school coaching at the
Hmm.
St. Eulalia where we went. He was coaching the fifth and sixth graders. And one year, I think he was involved in about 6 years or so. I want to say this is probably about 1986. I went to one of the practices and I started helping out on the varsity level with coaches that coached me. Ollie
Hmm.
Evans, um, Tony Cole, that was his name, Mr. Cole, all these great guys, and so I started helping them out. And that varsity team at St. Lelia, that was the first time out of St. Lelia, this was 86. So you're looking at 20, almost over 25, almost 30 years of football at St. Lelia. Their varsity never won the championship. We won the championship that year, undefeated, unscored upon. Our quarterback was Michael Finley, Phoenix Suns Hall of Fame.
Yep.
We had Damone Rodez, who went to St. Joe's, who was a all-state all-state wrestler, First conference offensive MVP for St. Joe's in football. We had athletes up and down the lineup. The Buchanan brothers, right, who went from Bellwood, who went to the pros. Their younger brother, Ryan Shorty Buchanan, played for us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Nate Hudson. I'm trying to remember these names in case some of these guys pop up here. Bobby Gates. These are all Maywood guys and everything. But we had a great team. But they went undefeated and unscored upon. But I didn't coach after that. And then I want to say it was like 1994, 93, 94. Bill was coaching at Proviso West. And I worked at McDonald's Corporation in Oak Brook. And
Mm-hmm.
on my way home, I stopped at his practice, and he was coaching the sophomore, and he was the only coach out there. The other coach they had with the team was a dean, and he had after school responsibilities. So I don't know if Bill, but I did owe Bill money at the time, and so I started helping him out, and I fell in love with it then. And at the end of that season, the athletic director said, "We appreciate your help. You know, if you get certified, you can get paid for this." So I got certified, coached with Bill at Proviso West for 3 or 4 more years, and then went to St. Joe's. I guess the rest is history.
Coach, when you stepped on the football field for your first coaching role, what was the what was like the most surprise feeling I guess you had about leading people at that time? Like what was the biggest shock for you?
Um, I guess in a way, the biggest shock was that I realized I was a leader, and that well, more or less, not that I was. The kids looked in me at that role.
Hmm.
You know, I just thought I was having fun with kids and showing them about the game when I first stepped out there. You know, showing them skills to learn and stuff like that. Not that mentor role model that we are, whether we like it or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hands down, I don't think you understand how influential you actually are. When you are out there on the field and you're coaching and you can feel the passion behind everything that you're showing us. Like just your lineup, how you're setting everything up, how how you're doing everything. It's just like you feel the passion behind it, like significantly. When you were playing, what was the difference between your coaching philosophy, well, your player philosophy and your coaching philosophy?
You know, I don't think it changed too much. You know, I know I
Hmm.
was intense as a player. I I fell into that leadership role as a player. I was voted team captain as a senior. You know, so some of those things just I want to say came natural. You know, as a coach, and I started coaching with Bill and learning from him, and also my other coach. You know, you're not just talking about football all the time.
Hmm.
It's talking about life. You know, it's yeah, it's a special sport. It's a special feeling. It's that intensity, that passion you have to go out there and do your best, and just show you're worthy to your teammates.
I saw you consistently, coach, like go out of your way to make sure that kids were okay, that they understood the game on and off the field. And when I say in the game, I mean not just the game of football, but the game of life. Like you were able to help prepare a lot of us to make sure that we didn't make a lot of dumb decisions when we walked off of that field. Was it was it easy? What was I guess a better question would be what was the most challenging of can you remember a time where you felt like you were really challenged, where a player or a coach like really challenged you to go above and beyond as a
But
coach?
I'm smiling because yeah, St. Joe's was a challenge,
Yes.
and I'm sure regardless of wins and losses, I'm sure a lot of the challenge we faced, coaches at other schools faced the same challenge.
Right. In some stretch of the imagination. In some way, shape, or form, they probably, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if I don't know if there's one specific area or moment I could reflect on. Um, like I say, to me, it just comes. I want to say natural when you speak to a young man. You know, you care. It comes from a caring atmosphere, the atmosphere that I grew up in at home, at St. Eulalia with the teachers I had at St. Joe's. When people care for you, you feel you're you're gonna reflect that on others and try and deliver them the positive messages that you've learned through life. Keep on trying, never give up, love each other, love the man
Mhm.
next to you. I mean, it's those little messages that you try and get through. Um, I guess just being yourself and being true to the kids.
There's a quote from Tom Landry that I had pulled when I was talking to Coach Bill, and I was like, I'm gonna save this one because this to me hits you a lot more. Um, Not to say it's not Bill, but this definitely hits you a lot more. Um, and it is a coach is someone that tells you what you don't want to hear, helps you see what you don't want to see, so that you can be who you always knew you could be. And there has been numerous times on the football field where I have been told by Coach Gil, get your head out of your ass. This isn't correct. You're doing this and you're doing this wrong. You're doing that wrong. You can do this better. You should put more effort into this. All of those little pieces, like it was never said in a way where I was like, the coach over here just, riding me the entire time. It was always taken like, if coach can see that there's something else that's there, there's more fuel in the tank, there's more gas in the tank, then I should know that there's more gas in the tank and I need to do something about it. So it was always led with like where you came from, it always came from a place where you can always relate to you. And I think that's something that made it very easy for a lot of the players that I played with and that you coached to listen to you and take that tutelage because there has been when I started coaching, one of the things I noticed was you'd have some coaches, telling their players like, you should be doing this. You have another coach come in and tell them, hey, you should probably do this, to help that same player, and there may be some animosity between coaches. Like, you're coaching my players, you're telling them to do something different. I never saw that with you. I never saw that with you and Bill or anyone else. Like, if you ever walked over to our practice to tell us something that we were doing, no matter who was coaching, they always took that as, listen to Coach Gill. He's dropping some knowledge right now.
Yeah,
Did you?
I always felt watching you couldn't let kids make the mistake if you're seeing it. Can't let it go just on
Mm-hmm.
let it go. And to your point, looking at, as you think about the challenge was, I guess the challenge with any coach is trying to bring out the athlete what you see in him. Not only the athlete, the person what you see in him. This quiet individual, this individual who has the ability but just doesn't know how to bring it out yet.
Mm-hmm.
To do their very best, to try hard on every play. Things like that. That's the challenge of bringing it out of the kid. But uh, that's the um, that's the reward also as you see the young athlete, the young person grow. The little things that you helped bring the person.
Absolutely. Coach, what would you say would be your three main core values when it comes to coaching?
Um, be yourself, care, and be passionate. Just thinking off the top of my head, those are the first three things that come to my mind. I don't know if I'm coaching still right now, and I want to say unfortunately, but I hung up the whistle back in from St. Joe's in 2015, I think it was. And the next year they had the best team in school history. And I always say, if I would have known that 10 years ago, I would have hung it up 10 years ago. But when I hung it up, it was the right time. I realized I was tired. Um, and it was time for me to hang up the whistle. And I said, if I really miss it, I can always come back to coaching. It's not like playing, you can't play anymore.
Right.
So from 2015 to 3 years ago, I didn't miss it. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed going to watch games on Friday night. I had three grandsons. They were little guys. I started taking them to some football games. All they wanted was the popcorn, though. And then 3 years ago, my grandson started playing. One was 7 years old, playing the Mighty Mites, the little guys, and his older brother was 9, playing with the Widgets. And out in Palos Heights, I live in Westmont. They're out in Palos, and I went to see one of his practices, and I saw Vinny, the older one. He's practicing with his team, and there's two dads out there doing the best they can. And I'm walking back to my car. I'm leaving, remind you.
Hmm.
Long story short, this is my 3rd year there. I went back on the field, gave him a hand, as an assistant, this and that, and everything. And my older grandson, Vincent, he didn't take. He didn't want to come back to football. But his younger brother, Christian, loved it. And
Hmm.
he was going to come up to the next level the next year, and he wanted to play quarterback. I'm like, well, you want me to coach a quarterback? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I can't let some young father coach my grandson his first year quarterback.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I,
Especially
I,
when you
I
know.
coached I coached those kids last year, and if I had hair before I started coaching the 7, 8, and 9 years old, or well, yeah, they're 8 and 9. I wouldn't have it now. I don't know if I have the patience with these little guys. It's fun. I make it fun for them. Try and make it more fun. Um, but it's a good time. But Coach Gil is wants to be up in the stands now, so this will be my last year. My grandson knows, because I came back last year. He asked me to come back, but I told him after this year, I'll tutelage him in the off season if he wants, and he could go to his clinics. He'll learn. He's a
Yep.
good. He likes the game. He plays hard. He's playing his quarterback. So, but after this year, I'll be in the stands watching and filming.
That's insane that, our Coach Gil is hanging it up right now. Like that's insane right now.
I it's a it's a love hate thing right now, because I enjoy it, but again, I'm getting older, tired. I am still working, so I come home from work, and then I got to go drive 20 miles out to Payless one way, 20
Yep.
miles back. So it's just a long day for the old man. And like I
Mhm.
say, I when it comes down to it, I'd rather watch. I'd rather watch.
Yep. That makes
Like
sense.
that's
That
what it is
definitely.
on the game day. During the week it's fun practice and everything. But when it comes to the game, I'm a coach on the field. They have instructed. You're to the instructional league, so we're out there on the field with them. I would, like I say, I'd rather be up in the stands. But it's a
So,
great experience with the grandsons. And my daughter has shared pictures of me and my grandsons on the sidelines. I'm sure from her eyes, seeing her dad and her son on the sideline together are cherished memories also. So we'll take those souvenirs with us.
absolutely. I mean, again, you can't beat that. You can't beat that. Like
No,
you cannot beat
no,
that.
I would I put it this way, I would have never thought it. I knew I had grandsons. I knew they might play someday, but I didn't think I'd be on the sideline with them. I'm glad I had the experience with each one of them. Now the thing I'm fearing now, I got there's three of them. The middle one I'm coaching now. The younger one's going to be able to play with the Mighty Mites next year. He better not ask me.
Or you're gonna be coaching for another couple years.
I, he'll have to ask me on his hands and knees.
There you go. There you go.
We'll
There you
see.
go.
Yeah,
Coach, so obviously coaching 6 and 7, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, that's very different than coaching
yeah.
high school players.
Oh yeah,
What would you
they're
say
8
is
and 9. It's different, but it isn't.
right? Right. So I was gonna say it's kind of comparable to a degree. You're right.
Yeah, I mean their attention span is a lot less, but you're battling the same things. You're battling the same
Hmm.
things.
So what would you say is probably one of like the similar things when it comes to coaching 8 and 9-year-olds and coaching high schoolers? Like, what do you feel like is one of the quickest similar things that's there?
Well, again, with a lot of times at St. Joe's, I did coach on the varsity level, even with the varsity level, but a lot of times with the lower levels. Um, and this I learned from clinics. It starts with the basics, the base, stance and start. Each individual session, whether you're a lineman, receiver, running back, defensive lineman, whatever, you're in your position group, stance and start. Go
Hmm.
from there. those are the things, the little things you go from there and you build up those little fundamentals. They're all the same. They're all
The
the same. And that's what I
foundation.
learned. That's what I learned from clinicking,
Mm-hmm.
and if you ever been to, I'm sure you've been to other teams' practices, whether it be pro or college, and you see similar stuff. You see ball security, you see stance and start, hand placement, and that's what with these little guys, 8, 9 years old, I try and show them on my phone the video. I said, see, we're doing the same thing that they're doing at the high school and college level.
Mm-hmm.
So try and encourage them.
Making it relatable.
Yes.
Trying to make it relatable as possible. That's one thing I
Now,
cherish.
are you still coaching? Are you still involved in coaching?
Not no, but I've been thinking about getting back into coaching. Trying to carve out the time right now to go and do it is
I feel you. I feel you there. I know
that's the
what you mean.
thing. I don't want to just jump into coaching to do it. I want to make sure that I have the time to actually dedicate to the kids and actually give them that time that they deserve. Because again, they're putting a lot of time and effort into it.
Yeah.
And I remember playing at St. Joseph High School. When we left practice, Coach Gil, Coach Bill, and the rest of the coaches were still in the locker room, still going over tape, still
So,
going over plays, still going over, scheme, still, trying to make sure that, we were in the best position to win as best as possible. So
yep.
I remember those days, and I remember when coaching with you, those same kids
Thanks,
are
stuff.
gone, and we're still there. We're still trying to, figure out what's the
Run it
best
back.
thing to
Yeah.
do. So I want to make sure I can dedicate that time the way that I need to dedicate it. So just not, half-assing it. So
The
that,
two things I'll say two things I'll pass along, and one is, and I should have did it this year, but I went to a clinic one time on a coach clinic, and it was KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And
yep.
that coach had like about an hour and a half to speak. He was done in 40 minutes. And little things, especially with the youth league. So if any youth league guys see this stuff, um, we're always numbering stuff, evens to the right, odds to the left, this and that. This guy said if we're going to run dive right, we say dive right. We're going to run power right, sweep right. Simple as that.
Yep.
Simple as that. The other thing that I caught was what you see is what you coach.
Mm,
So what you see on the field, if you're seeing sloppy play, sloppy alignment, sloppy stances, there's the
that's
fingers,
internal,
coach.
right? It's
What
here.
you see is what you coach. Again, Bill, their X's might be bigger than your O's, which means you're up against it. You're going to battle, but they're going to be beating you. But you can still be in the right formations, proper alignment, execute, backfield execution, things of that nature. So what you see is what you coach. I always like that one.
So now I got a good question for you. I asked this to Coach Bill. He was like, "You're gonna make me go down a rabbit hole." So I'm hoping that I'll make you go down a rabbit hole too. But what would you say is the biggest difference you see now from athletes back when you played and the athletes you coached today?
Um, some of them I'll say are kids can be more showy, more they see the entertainment, the dancing, and all that stuff, and things like that. But your
Hmm.
athletes and your passionate athletes and your players are the same. And again, you as a coach, you might see that kid who might be a young 9-year old who's cocky, thinks he can knows it all, thinks he can do it all. But you see him, and then that's your role as a coach to try and mold that to what he could be, the person he
Right.
could be, the player he could be. Um, I don't know. They might some Bill might think about kids talking back and yapping back and things like that. And that happens from a lack of discipline from the program. If you're going to let kids yap back at you, then they're going to yap back at you. Somebody else
Hmm.
sees that, they're going to yap back at you. So um, it's just being, again, going back to being true to yourself, sticking to your guns. Discipline is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And being consistent. But the players, like I say, because I had some show kids that when we played in high school and everything.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, your true players and athletes, the kids who want it and everything aren't much different from the ones years ago. I'm a little different than Bill. He'll sit one day, him and I will have an argument about this. But I don't think all of them are that different.
What was your biggest passion, like seeing Coach Bill kind of carve out his own path? Because again, obviously, one thing that he said on his pod was that he looked up to you quite a bit. Again, you
Well,
were the man of the house essentially for him.
I appreciate that from Bill from a football coaching standpoint. The shoe is on the other foot. I looked up to Bill. Bill was a guru in my eyes about things. He knew a lot of football, and still does know a lot of football. Um, so yeah, he was my he was my mentor as a coach in a way. You know, I saw the way he spoke to the players after practice
Mm.
about not just football, about their life, their books, things that are important in all walks of life, not just as an athlete. But that's where I learned a lot from Bill. So the funny thing that's a mutual respect right there, not only of brothers, but what each of us brought to each other. I'm sure.
We have, when I say we, I mean the players at St. Joe's, the other coaches at St. Joe's. We have all said this. The Hasselhoff legacy is immense. When you hear that, what does that mean to you, and what you guys brought to not just the sport, but what you guys brought to St. Joseph High School?
Well, St. Joe's affected us, and so we were dedicated to giving back to St. Joe's and to those kids. When I when I was at Proviso West, they had the first home game at St. Joe Field. Tom Mitchell, I think it was his first year there, and I left. I was a lower level coach at Proviso West, so right after I came over to St. Joe's to watch that game. They had a generator with a little scoreboard in the back of the end zone, but I felt so much pride right there. A home game at St. Joe's. After that field, after that game, I ran onto the field. Coach Mitchell introduced myself and shook his hand, and then next year I became a coach at St. Joe's. Um, yeah, St. Joe's. A lot of things to me going back to when I was a student there, and my freshman year, my dad passed away. I remember at my dad's funeral, the three busloads of my classmates coming to the funeral. Forward 40, 50 years later, goes and my mom passes away. We have the funeral right down on 22nd Street at Convoy Brothers.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, a couple players walk in, a couple more, the whole team walking from St. Joe's. So as I tell people, yeah, St. Joe's is a special place to me. That's part of it. But again, it's the individual, caring individuals who, um, I cared about the kids, cared about the school, cared about the program, and again, maybe mainly about the kids because that's who it's
Hmm.
for. It's for the kids.
You made
We
that
try,
very clear, Coach.
that's where that's where it starts. That's where it starts.
Yeah, that's one thing I can definitely say. You definitely made that abundantly clear. You were the first one on the field and the last one off the field. With if Bill wasn't lining the field and you weren't picking up cones and putting sleds away and whatnot in the brother's house, we saw you out there filling up water bottles and trying to make sure that everything was set for us to make sure that we were good to go before and after practice.
We all did our parts and loved it. I won't say loved every minute of, but yeah, nothing but great memories. And I call my memories of things souvenirs. Those are my souvenirs of life. My memories that I have of all those things.
So let's talk about some of those souvenirs because I know we got a lot of them. But let's talk about what was the hardest loss that you've ever taken at St. Joe's? What's something that was kind of debilitating for you?
Hardest loss is tough because there were a few. Um, that's one I'd have to give some more thought to.
Then we can pivot off this one. What's the proudest
Yeah.
moment then?
We'll come back maybe to that.
You know what your proudest moment is as a coach or as a player?
Um, as a player, it was, I don't want to say it's easy, but as a player, my senior year, we had a new varsity coach come in from Fenwick, Bob Kamel, and he had us write down our goals for the year and seal them in an envelope. Our academic goal, athletic goal, and personal goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't recall what my personal goal was. I recall my athletic goal was to be all conference. My academic goal was to be a B honor student. I got a 2.98, finished with a 2.98 instead of 3.0. So I was right there. I got a call. I remember the date, November 20th, 1979, from my coach telling me that I was selected first team all conference. So
Awesome.
that was probably my proudest moment as an athlete there. As a coach, um, there's a few of them where I saw athletes excel and things like that. But a few moments was once Ryan Kegg was the quarterback. Brett Vazinez was quarterbacking for St. Viator, and we whooped them 50-48. And I remember being so happy. Am I supposed to cry at this moment? And I'm like, no, cry. I'm too damn happy to cry. I was shaking my fist in my hair. So
Hmm.
that seeing that victory against a team that I bet you if those Viator kids at their reunion nowadays, they'll talk, and I'm sure somebody bring up that, and they'll say, yeah, but we lost to St. Joe that year. And I'm like, yeah,
Yep.
you did. Yeah, you did.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
So,
Shout out Ryan Kegg, man.
yeah. He was a tough player. He came. That was a big game, man. That was a big game. A lot of kids had big games in that game. I mean, it was
Hmm.
a great back and forth battle, and we came through. So I would have to look at that as one of the greatest victories. Um, I don't know. I guess in a way, proudest moment was being able to coach with my brother Bill. That's special.
Yeah.
That's special, and that's
You don't
something
get
we'll
that
always remember.
opportunity.
And it would have been cool if Dad was around to see it and to hear the conversations that we would have giving each other a hard time about it and everything. But that would have been good. But yeah, coaching with Bill was a big proud moment. My first victory at St. Joe's as a freshman coach was against St. Viator. I recall this distinctly, and
Hmm.
we were leading by 4 points, or was anyway. And their back went around the end, ran for a touchdown, and I hear a lady on the other side yell, "That's holding." The flag comes out. Well, the lady who yelled, that was my mom who yelled, "That's holding." So mom made the call. The ref threw the flag,
There
and,
you
and Gil
go.
won his first victory as a freshman head coach.
With a little bit of mom's help. So shout out
Oh
mom.
yeah. And that's the other cool thing. I look back. I got my old yearbook, and in the yearbook, you look up in the stands. There's my sister cheering in the stands. My mom next to her, sitting next to her. So they got their photos in the yearbook.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Coach, what does coaching mean to you now compared to when you first started?
You know, I'll reflect on it with the young kids because now I'm not, and I tell the other coaches I coach with on this level, I don't care if these kids go into a game and win. I'm going to prepare them for it, but that doesn't matter to me. I want to see them give effort, have fun, and I tell them, even back then I used the same thing. I said, you're playing a game. When you're playing a game, what do you want to do? Well, you want to win.
Hmm.
And if you're playing a game, you got to like that game, so you want to have fun. Well, you're not going to win every game you play, but you can still have fun. And in football, you have fun by doing the best you can on every play and giving that effort. That's how you have fun. When you walk off that field, win or lose, tired saying, I did what I could. And I'm going to come back Monday and do it again.
Coach, one of the things that, and you kind of already alluded to this already, and what people, I mean, well, I've said this numerous times in the beginning of this pod and throughout the pod, but you made a lasting effect on a number of players. How do you want the players and your colleagues to remember you?
I'm Gil. I'm just an ordinary, average guy doing the best I can every day. Trying to treat people who would want to be treated, and doing the best I can each and every. I always think Gil's going to go down in the books as Gil was a nice guy, and if I'm known as a nice guy, man, that's great. That's great. If my moniker says I'm my too nice guy, I'll take that. I'll take that. Nothing wrong with a nice guy, Steve. Nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong with it at all, Coach. But I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna give you your flowers the same way I gave Coach Bill his flowers. Coach, you are more than just a nice guy. You are more than just an average coach. You are exactly what every player needs as a coach. Someone that has the same amount of passion that can see the person past what they see. Because I didn't see myself as this extraordinary football player, but Coach Gill saw that in every one of the players. Not just me, but every single player. You saw something in us that we didn't even see in ourselves. And even those players that probably did see it in themselves, the showmen, you were able to get another level out of it from them as well. So I want to make sure you get your flowers. I want you to understand how great of a coach you actually are, how great of a person that you are, and what impact you've given, not just like I said, players like myself, but countless other coaches out there, because we've all taken tutelage from you. We've all taken little tidbits from you. I still remember stance and starts. I remember at one point in time we didn't have necessarily a wide receiver coach, and you were coaching the wide receivers for a couple weeks before we got Coach Hall, I believe it was. And you would put your foot right at the back of our foot and make sure that again we didn't have our heel off the ground, right? Like making sure that we were starting, we weren't false stepping. Like that I remember that drill, and I kept that drill going my entire time coaching because I remember that how much it helped me get off the ball. Like just those small things. So I want you to understand, coach, that the foundation that you've laid for all of us definitely contributes to a lot of the success that we've all had. So thank you again for all of that.
I, I I appreciate hearing that. I appreciate hearing that in my heart. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So for those who don't know who you are, let's go to a quick little lightning round. I'm gonna throw a couple quick questions at you, coach. Kind
All
of lighten
right.
up the tone for make it a little bit easier for you.
Okay, go for it.
Favorite movie?
Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Oh, I gotta write that down. What year did that come out, coach?
That was an old one from 1940s about a song and dance man.
You are
Uh,
dating yourself, coach.
well, my dad turned me on to it. I watch it every 4th of July. If a lot of players who see this, they're going to think I was going to say Rudy, but that's right up there too.
That's number
I don't
two.
know
It's
if you know
one
the
A, one
Rudy
B.
story.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Rudy's a classic movie.
Well, no,
Classic.
but my Rudy story, I think it was after you were gone. So through the years when I was coaching the teams at St. Joe's,
Hmm.
I would have the same speech on Friday before the game. They go home tonight, rest, get mentally prepared for the game, stay off your feet. I tell them watch a movie. Rudy's a
Hmm.
good one,
Yep.
and the kids would yell something else to program this, that, or the other thing. But go on with your
Make
question.
sure you go watch Rudy also. Biggest influence outside of sports.
My mother, um, just a strong lady. Um, Another strange thing I'll share, like I said, my dad really didn't come to my games, no problem. Um, I don't remember my mom ever saying to me, "I love you." But you know what? I
Hmm.
never felt unloved.
Right.
7 kids in the family, I never felt that she put any one of them above me or put me above anyone else. Um, her strength after dad passed and everything showed me life can go on.
Most underrated quality in a great coach.
I'll search for this, but I'll say realizing that what makes a great coach is great players.
I love how you always try to take the focus off of you. Favorite quote or Bible verse?
I know I have a favorite quote.
I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot right now, coach.
Yeah, yeah. Come back. Let me come back to that. Pass.
We'll pass on that one. We'll pass. What is one lesson that your parents gave you that still resonates with you today?
I'll say the one lesson I got from my dad was be a gentleman. Um, Look people in the eye when you're talking to them. Shake a man's hand firmly when you shake his hand. Open the door for the ladies. Be polite.
Yep. Be a good man.
Yep.
All right, we'll give you the pass on the other one. We'll give you the pass on that one.
All right.
So, last question that I got for you. Actually, two more questions for you. What does, when you hear the word coach life, because you've lived a lot of coach life, when you hear the words coach life, what does that mean to you?
Caring about others.
And final words for you, coach, for any players, for any players or soon to be coaches that want to start coaching. What's the wisdom that you would bestow on them getting into the coaching field?
Well, coaches. There's clinics. If you can't go to clinics, the internet is a great place. All you got to Google, show me drills on for 8 and 9 year old tackling drills. Boom, you'll get 8 and 9 year old tackling drills. The information is out there for you, just in everything else. Um, and be true to yourself. If you have expectations, live up to your expectations, not their expectations. Those would be things I'd tell them. And keep it simple.
Use the KISS method. Coach, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit with me and talk, touch base on life, on football, on growth. Again, when I tell you you are massively impactful to many Chargers out there, many other players out there, many coaches out there, many people out there in general. Again, it's just from you just being a good person, coach. You've definitely set the standard for what it is to be a good coach and actually show that passion on and off the field. So again, thank you for everything that you've done for myself and for countless others, and definitely appreciate you jumping on the pod today.
And you're welcome. And I'll leave it with this, just like I say about the word care. It's family. How can you not care for your family? St. Joe's is my family, and you all are too. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Steve.
Thank
Love
you.
you, buddy.
Thank you. Love you too, coach. Again, if you like what you heard, smack that like and subscribe button if you want to hear more from your Coach Life fam. Until the next time, family, stay positive, my friends.
Bye now.